Hello. Hi, I should be writing Facebook group. This is your hostess and creator of this now almost 16,000 member group. And I just want to say hello, welcome. Tuesdays at noon Eastern is when we do a weekly show inside of the group. It's called Level Up Live. It's all about leveling up your career and making your work life better. And of course, it's often focused on writing. So I'm Kathy Mazak. I am a writing and career coach, a former tenured full professor. And today I am coming to you for our Level Up Live, which is about this really quick 30-second pipeline assessment that I created for you. Okay, so the 30-second pipeline assessment has just 3 yes or no questions. I'm going to ask them to you imminently. And what we are assessing here is whether you need more training or to dive deeper into this idea of how to create, manage, and strategize your publication pipeline. Now, if you're new to the group, welcome. If you're new to the idea of a publication pipeline, all a publication pipeline is really like all of your writing projects in different stages of being done. Anywhere from you've got data collected, even it can start with an idea, right? That you have data collected, needs to be analyzed, and all of that idea goes through many different stages of research, outlining and drafting and submitting until it's finally published. And that process we refer to as your publication pipeline. Now, managing your publication pipeline is absolutely key to creating the career that you want. And so here's the 3 questions that you need to ask yourself to assess your publication pipeline. Question number 1, do you have your publication pipeline visually represented somewhere? Okay, do you have your publication pipeline visually represented somewhere? Now, a visual representation of your pipeline could be sticky notes on the wall behind you, right? It could be all the stages of your pipeline and each project on a different sticky note. It could be a Trello board. It could be just an Excel spreadsheet. It could be a Word doc. It could be, in an actual journal or a bullet journal, right? It doesn't matter how, but it could be digital or on paper or on a whiteboard or something. But do you have your publication pipeline visually represented somewhere? Okay, that's question number 1. If the answer is no, then you've got some work to do. You need to have that pipeline mapped out someplace that you can see it, preferably that you can see it frequently, several times a week. Okay, question number 2 in the 30-second pipeline assessment is the oldest thing in your pipeline more than 18 months old? Is the oldest writing project in your pipeline more than 18 months old? Now, I chose 18 months as kind of a happy medium. Depending on your field, 18 months could be an eternity or it might be, like a reasonable amount of time for something to go through your pipeline. I'm specifically thinking about on the high end of how long projects take to go through the pipeline. In my experience, working with academics across many fields, on the high end, we've got historians. I love historians. So historians for articles, books take even longer, but for articles, sometimes the process can be years long to get an article out. Also, articles tend to be much lengthier based on archival work. And so it's years that something is in your pipeline, right? For engineers, for example, that process might be much shorter. You might have collected data and you're able to rapid fire, compared to historians, get a lot of publications out on that in a much shorter time frame, like 6 months or so. But I chose this 18 months. You can change the number of months to what you consider to be long. But I would say the question is the oldest thing in your pipeline more than 12 to 18 months old? And that would indicate that things are hanging out in your pipeline and they aren't moving through, right? So if you've got real old stuff hanging out in your pipeline, it can indicate a couple of things, right? Your writing process, is maybe needs to be more regular so that you can more regularly pay attention to your writing to get things through the pipeline. But it could also mean that you have a prioritization problem, which means that there's some things in your pipeline that kind of keep falling to the bottom of the list. And there's other things that like kind of bump them down in importance. And that can indicate that you don't have a very clear academic mission statement or milestone map that like, okay, these are the things I need to do. Because if you did, then you would have cut those old projects from your pipeline that don't fit anymore. So lots of things could be going on if you have old projects hanging out in your pipeline. Those just a couple of ideas. Question number 3 in our 3-question, 30-second pipeline assessment is, can you tell me right now which writing project in your pipeline is the number 1 priority for your career goals? Okay. How you set up and organize and manage your pipeline is 100% related to your career goals. So you want to be making decisions about your time based on your career goals. So if you haven't clearly articulated your career goals, then that means that your pipeline could be kind of wonky. It could be not flowing. You might sit down to work on your writing and not know like where to start, like what projects to work on. And this might lead to what I call the buffet method of working on writing, which is that you've got a bunch of projects like in a buffet. You take a little bite of this one, take a little bite of that one, take a little bite of this one, but you're not consistently moving projects all the way through the pipeline. You're looking like a little bit here, a little bit there. That's why it's called the buffet method. So to recap, the 30-second pipeline assessment is to ask yourself these 3 yes or no questions. Number 1, is your publication pipeline visually represented somewhere, somehow, however you want to do it? Paper, sticky notes, bullet journal, Trello board, Google Sheet, whatever. Number 2, is the oldest thing in your pipeline more than 12 to 18 months old? You might have to adjust that question for your field, okay? And number 3, can you tell me right now which writing project is your top priority project for your career goals? Okay, so which project in your pipeline is the one that is the most important for you to finish in order to support your career goals? Now, if you are like, yes, I can do all those things, then you have a healthy pipeline and you're probably managing it pretty well. If you've got a mix of yes and no, there's probably some areas you could work on. And if you've said no to all those 3 things, you really need to get yourself some pipeline training. So I wanted to let you know that we have some pipeline training coming up, but it is specifically for early career scholars. Okay, so it's for people who are interested in our Amplify Faculty Writing Accelerator program, which is open for enrollment now. The workshop that we're doing is on August 4th. It's called the Power Pipeline Training. It's by invitation only. And so, excuse me. And so if you would like an invitation to the Power Pipeline Training, where we're going to show you and teach you some of the content from our Amplify Power Pipeline module, the part of the going up for tenure with confidence framework that we have. We're going to teach you part of it and talk to you about the Amplify program on August 4th. If you apply at the link that's in the description of this video, you and are approved, so you apply for the Amplify program and we approve your application, you will get an invitation to our Power Pipeline training on August 4th. If you can't make it, I think it's at noon Eastern. If you can't make it, we'll of course send the recording as we always do. But we would love for you to come live so you can ask questions. So if you have taken our 30-second pipeline assessment and you haven't done that well, so you got a bunch of no's to the yes/no questions, and you are early career, which means really, the first few years on the tenure track, the first few years in a permanent position, going up for promotion, in year 5 or 6, depends on what kind of system you're in, then I would love to invite you to our Power Pipeline training, which is happening next week. All you need to do is fill out the Amplify application, and I'll see you there. So hope you enjoyed this Level Up Live and have a great day. Bye.